Joining us right now, of course, Pat Barry, head coach of the Saskatoon Valkyries. Now their season is getting underway here shortly, so appreciate you taking the time, Pat. I'm sure you're busy this time of year.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's been a little bit challenging with the weather we've been having, but yeah, we're trying to get ready for this weekend.
Well, hopefully that's enough snow. I don't even want to say that word. I don't want to jinx it. It'll be fine.
It's been nuts. Yeah. Oh, it's been crazy. And then I think it's supposed to be like 19 degrees tomorrow for our practice. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster.
Well, rain, snow, sun, it's all going down next weekend, next Sunday, or this Sunday, pardon me. Regina Riot, Saskatoon Valkyries. That's got to be an exciting game to start off the season with, I imagine.
It really is. I mean, whenever Regina and Saskatoon to get together in any sport, it's always an exciting time. They're for sure our biggest rival, and I've got a lot of respect for everyone on that team, and Claire does a great job getting her team ready, and it's something that we look forward to. It's a little nerve-wracking game one, as you mentioned, Tegan, but we're hopeful that it goes well.
Well, 5 straight championships for the Saskatoon Valkyries, an incredible accomplishment to say the least. What stands out to you most about this last particular few seasons compared to, previous years?
Well, I think it's really like the resilience of our athletes is pretty impressive. We had a very, very young team last year, and I think we're going to be a pretty young team again this year. We've lost some players, as people move on, they're all adults, and life takes over in certain ways, but we're always looking for new people to join our team, and that has happened this year. But I think it's really just sort of the leadership of our team is, they do such a good job of being welcoming and getting new people to join us, and to sort of figure out what tackle football is all about. I know football is really in the news a lot lately. Obviously at the pro level, you had a couple really pretty great long-term pros from Saskatchewan that you guys were just talking to, so that was pretty exciting. And but with the emergence of flag football just exploding, it's something that we're happy to be a part of that in the province for sure.
How do you do it? You look at female tackle football, and maybe I'm old, but it seems like just yesterday that programs were starting to begin and form and being put together, and it almost seems like a snowball that's now continuing to grow and build as it rolls down the hill. How have you been able to keep the momentum going?
Well, that's that for sure is one of the biggest challenges that we face. Is trying to get people to come out. You're right. Like it's, again, no one gets paid on our team. It's just for the love of the game that we have people who continue to do that. And I think, the word of mouth and the influence of our elite programs in the province, that is something that has definitely helped us over the years. We also get great support from Football Saskatchewan and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Rough Rider Foundation is absolutely instrumental to our program and to the Regina Riot program. Like, we're really pretty fortunate in the WWCFL with the support that we get from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's second to none.
So tell me a little bit about your team. You mentioned they're young. They've just won a championship. You've won multiple championships. How high is the ceiling for your group still?
Well, we're still trying to figure out what we're going to be this year. Again, we've been practicing indoors here in Saskatoon at a few different venues for the last couple of months, and we've been able to be outside one time so far. We had a couple postponed in Saskatoon. We got a huge dump of snow just the other day, and it's finally melting now. But yeah, we're hoping that we can get out and do a full practice with all of our special teams tomorrow, and see what we've got and make sure we can get things ready. Install on our team is a little bit different than when you're talking to, someone like a team like the Rams or the Huskies or the Thunder or the Hilltops or or the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Like everyone's either a student or they've got a job, and we practice late at night as an adult team, and we try to install as quickly as we can. But it's sometimes challenging to get everything ready, especially at this time of year.
With success comes a lot of expectation. When you look at your club, I mean, the Saskatoon Valkyries, we've mentioned it a couple of times here, they're a force to be reckoned with. So how do you, as a coach, keep that standard high and, I guess, prevent complacency?
Well, I think, Tegan, you just said the term, we try to use it from time to time. It's called our standard. Like, we feel like when we play to a standard, our standard, it's, we're pretty tough to beat. It's something that we try and get the new players, or even the players who've been around for a period of time, or people who maybe are just trying it out. Like, we try and get them to understand what our standard is, our standard of play, and that's something that we try to get everyone up to speed as quickly as possible.
So when you are building the foundation that you have, what do you hope your athletes get out of the program?
Well, I mean, like, obviously, like it is, like, we do consider, like, we are an elite program. Like, that's the way that we approach it. But we want them to have success. But something as a coach, like, I've been doing this for a long time. I want them to have fun. I think football is the greatest team sport in the world. And I definitely, I guess the sort of the newest thing for me is, we have young women on our team who join us who they have a solid background in football. In the earlier years of the club, that definitely wasn't the case. So it's, you have a lot of young women who have played some six-a-side tackle football. Many women have played flag football and touch football. But yeah, I find that to be kind of, a great change that has happened since the early years of the club back in 2011.
And you mentioned nobody's getting paid, and it's a lot of volunteer hours. I know Michelle Duchesne puts in a ton of hours, not just for your team, but at the league level as well. But your assistant coaches as well all come from varying programs, varying success, but I'm sure they all have different voices to lend.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things, throughout Saskatchewan, like, when you have the various coaching staffs around the province, your volunteer coaching staff is so essential. And we're pretty fortunate in Saskatchewan because we can draw on some great resources at all levels of the sport. I've coached high school for many years, and at SMF here in Saskatoon, and the Kinsman Football League as well. But it's, like, the volunteer coaching in our province is just so impressive, and it's essential for running all of our programs.
So, as you're getting ready for another season, kicking off this weekend, leadership has always been a big foundation of your group. So who are you looking at? Who are some of the players that you're counting on to set the tone?
Well, you're always you're hopeful that that your group that you have coming back, you expect them, you have certain expectations for them in leadership positions, and then you're always hoping that you get a new group of leaders to step up, and it looks like that is starting to happen for us. When I see on our defense, we have a player who's Danny Girolami. She has been an exceptional player for us for a number of years, and she looks like she's going to be a big factor for us this year on the defense. Emery Hobgawaks, who's originally from Mooseman, she's an outstanding defensive player playing on our defensive line, and just really excited to see what she can do. And then we have a player who's been, we have a couple other defensive players. Emery Dale, who's our starting middle linebacker. She's someone who is a very, very talented football player and is a leader on the field for us. And, we also have a defensive back, Kaylin O'Neill, who's also our kicker. And I'm just so pleased with how she plays. She's such a great athlete, and she's such a hard worker. And it's just, it's really exciting to have leadership like that on our team. We're, as you can tell, I mentioned a lot of defensive players. We're very experienced on the defensive side. Maybe not quite as much on the offensive side, but that's okay. We saw some great performances from some of our young offensive players last year. And we're looking for some breakout seasons from some of our running backs and receivers and our young quarterbacks too. So that's something that we're looking forward to.
Can you tell me a little bit about the construction of your roster? Just listening, so you've got players that have some six-a-side experience. You've got another young woman that's come from Moosomin. You've got Emma Ray Dale, who played for the Saskatoon Hilltops at one point. How have you formed this team, and where are the athletes coming from? And I guess maybe what level of experience do they have when they join the program?
Well, some have zero experience, but I guess throughout the history of the club, like going back to the beginning of the club, like, the leadership on our team, like you mentioned, Michelle Duchesne, like she's our general manager and is one of the founders of the WWCFL. She is someone that is such a leader in women's football in the province. And our coaching staff, like our coordinators, our offensive coordinator is Marcy Halseth. And she was a U Sport basketball player with the Huskies for many years. And so she was an elite athlete. And Beth Thompson, our defensive coordinator, was also a U Sport wrestler. And they both played on the they both played on the Valkyries. They both played for Team Sask and Team Canada. And so they've represented Saskatchewan nationally. And also Canada at the IFAF World Championships too. So we're pretty fortunate in the leadership on our team, and it's exceptional. Like the leadership when it comes to football, women's football in our province is, I can't speak higher of it.
So if I was to sit down and we were to draw up X's and O's on a piece of paper, who would win between Marcy Halseth and her offense and her husband Cody Halseth and his defense at the University of Saskatchewan?
Oh, I don't know. I know Cody pretty well too. He's a good coach. I sure don't want to start a problem at the breakfast table at the Halseth house. That's for sure. But that's awesome, Dave. Yeah, Cody's a great guy. He's an excellent coach. He was a coach on the Valkyries a number of years ago, and he's spent so much time with Football Saskatchewan, and now defensive coordinator on the Huskies. Yeah, that's I have no comment.
That was a very safe answer, Pat.
I was going to hedge my bets and say Marcy just to be sure. Just we got everything covered then.
So Libel Field, that's going to be coming up before we know it. That first matchup against the Regina Riot, I bet you've got to be looking forward to it. So just kind of final thoughts there. What can fans expect to see from the Valkyries when they take to the field?
Well, first, I hope a lot of people come out. Libel Field is such a great place. I remember playing on it as a young boy back when it was grass in RMF. I used to live in Regina, and it's such a great venue, and people of Regina should be so proud of that facility and what everyone's done there. Len Antonini, I know, is a big, a big part of that with RMF. But yeah, I know every time we come down there, it's always exciting. When you think about the rivalries that we have, we're pretty fortunate, to have, two elite programs in our province. And we are hopeful that this summer, I don't know, I'm going to plug it right now, but I got to work with a number of these ladies as well. We're going to be having a women's team Sask, as we're hosting it in Saskatchewan this summer too. So you get to work with, they are opponents, for the spring. Then hopefully we all get together in the summer and we can win a national championship for Saskatchewan as well.
That's really cool. And we mentioned her name a couple of times here. We're going to have to get her on to talk a little bit more specifically to this. Michelle Duchesne, obviously one of the Valkyries founders and WWCFL founder. But the Valkyries team from 2011 to 14 are being inducted into the Saskatchewan Sport Hall of Fame. You must take a lot of pride in being able to work with an organization who has such a storied history.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like that's quite an honor. I know I was just at the tail end of that with that team that was being inducted. I was position coach on the 2014 team. But the athletes on that team, the leadership on that team, our head coach at the time was Jeff Yowzy, the executive director of Football Saskatchewan. As you mentioned, Michelle Duchesne is our general manager, and she's been with the team since its inception. Yeah, it's a great honor, and you think about all of the athletes who were on the team during that time. I got to know quite a few of them, not all of them, but yeah, it's whenever whenever an honor like this happens, it's a big deal, and especially a team getting inducted. Football is the ultimate team sport. To have you just don't expect something like that, so it's such an honor when it happens. It's quite rare, obviously, but
Well, congratulations. You're on a dynasty of a team. The head coach getting back at her right away here. We're going to have to catch up at some point a little bit later on this season, Pat.
thanks a lot for having me, guys.